It wasn't the shopping cart or the rusted lawn chair that made me stop raking. It was the jawbone, white as porcelain, hooked on a stringer of padlocked key fobs. Behind me, an HOA golf cart revved aggressively. A bullhorn squawked, "Drop that. Step away from HOA property. This is your final warning." My name's Graham Alder, an aggressively ordinary spreadsheet guy. I moved to Leanan Shore 6 months ago for the promise of scenic water amenities, a lake with more algae than personality. I work from home and mind my business. The HOA president is Vivian Rucker, a North Face vest enthusiast who treats rule books like scripture. Her slogan, stenciled on tote bags, is, "Order is property value." 2 months of green scum prompted me to buy a rake and a net. That decision made me public enemy number 1. Vivian started small, unauthorized aquatic disturbance, a $75 fine for wave creation while raking at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Then she cited my blue rake for violating the earth tone's only color palette for lakeside equipment. Next came surveillance. A drone with HOA compliance stickers hovered over my deck. A volunteer compliance cadre began tallying my trash retrieval incidents. Brett from Architectural Review, crouched in my bushes, measured my shoreline grass with digital calipers, documenting it was 1/8 inch taller than allowed. The rumors spread quickly. I was introducing invasive species. The rake was a dredge. Chemicals were involved because the water looked different. You could see 6 inches into it instead of 0. On Saturday morning, Vivian rolled up to my dock with 2 board members and her power vest. "Cease all lake interference immediately," she declared, "or we will have no choice but to escalate this matter to law enforcement." "Great," I said, setting down my rake. I fished up the jawbone, now in a plastic freezer bag. Attached to the key fobs was a corroded metal plate that read Leanan Shore Maintenance and a date from 3 years ago. I pointed to the muck shelf where I'd hooked mystery bags full of fluorescent orange dust, dead bait fish, and old paint cans stamped Rucker Property Services. Vivian's confident smile died. "Those are historic artifacts," she managed, her voice climbing. "Protected HOA property. You're tampering with community resources." "Cool," I said, pulling out my phone. "Let's call someone who really loves history." I dialed the county environmental hotline. Vivian immediately dialed the sheriff, insisting I was stealing HOA resources and trespassing. First on scene was a deputy, then an environmental quality inspector in a state truck, then a fish and wildlife vehicle, and awkwardly, a local news reporter. The inspector took one look at the bags and went formal. Yellow tape appeared. "No one enters the water," he announced. "This is now an active investigation." He took Vivian's statement. The deputy asked for HOA maintenance records. Vivian handed over a binder labeled Lake Services, tabs perfectly organized. The inspector waded into the shallows with a magnet wand. Within 5 minutes, he'd hooked a chain leading to a grid of weighted tarps hiding a provisional dumping cell next to the storm drain. "Who authorized this installation?" he asked. "Our contracted maintenance provider," Vivian said carefully. "Name of the contractor?" She hesitated. "Rucker Property Services." "Which is you?" I said helpfully. The deputy's pen paused. Conflict of interest noted. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to stay available." By Monday, the lake looked like a crime scene decorated with yellow tape. A full environmental response crew showed up. They winched bag after bag from the water, industrial quantities of fluorescent orange pavement marking powder, banned herbicides, and a plastic bin containing file folders. Inside were invoices showing kickback memos initialed VR and emergency algae treatment services billed but never performed. The jawbone was from a deer, part of an illegal backyard trophy cleaning operation. Still illegal, but not a murder scene. At the emergency HOA meeting on Wednesday, Vivian strode onto the stage wearing pearls. "This community is under attack," she began, gesturing toward me. I waved. Right then, the environmental quality inspector stepped up to the microphone. The projector screen lit up behind Vivian with photos of the garbage bags and bar charts showing lake toxin spikes corresponding perfectly with HOA records. The deputy stepped up. "Miss Rucker, you're being cited for illegal dumping, falsifying official records, obstruction of an environmental investigation, and operating an unlicensed waste disposal operation." He turned to me. "Mr. Alder, thank you for the call." The crowd gave a standing ovation. Vivian resigned the next morning. 2 weeks later, she reappeared at the county courthouse. She was fined $12,000 for environmental violations, placed on 2 years probation, and sentenced to 200 hours of community service cleaning up the very lake she'd poisoned. She had to wear a county-issued orange safety vest, the color of shame and regret. She opened her mouth to protest. The judge simply tapped his gavel once and said, "Next."